Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video on my channel, Meg's Movies. If you are new to this channel, this is basically where I talk to you guys about my passion for movies. This goes from collections, hauls, reviews, and to today's video, so let's get into it. Okay, and it's an original versus remake day, and in honour of the Guardians of the Galaxy coming out, I thought, why not do my original versus remake that was meant to do a while ago. I watched one film, then I didn't get around to watching the other one, and I never got around to doing it. So here it is again. The Incredible Hulk. So I am doing the 2003 going up against the 2008. Now, the reason being is because the very first Incredibles film was more based around the TV show, things like that. So I will do that one a little bit further down the line. But I wanted to concentrate on the more modern interpretations because they weren't too far apart in years. And I grew up with the 2003 one. So that was my first ever seeing of the Hulk in film and TV form. And then, of course, we got this one in 2008, which is actually part of the MCU. So that's why I thought I'll do these two first. And then maybe further down the line, I'll do the original going up against maybe the 2003 or 2008. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, so let's get into it. So if you are new to this channel and you haven't seen previous episodes of this before, I talk about the original and my thoughts, and then I talk about the remake and then my thoughts on that one, and then I choose which one I decide I prefer on. But I also get you guys involved as well, so I put it out in the community. I put a little poll out for you guys to pick either the original or the remake. So you guys went for the remake by a landslide. There's a few people that went for the original, but there was a lot more going for the remake. So now let's get into it. I'm going to start by pre-warning and saying I really don't have too much to talk about these films, like both of them. So this might be quite a short video, but that's because I enjoy these films, but not massively. So I won't have too much to talk about with them, but I will try and spread it out a little bit maybe. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. So yeah, so let's start by talking about the original, the 2003 one. So this was the first modern adaptation we got of the Hulk. We haven't really had sort of like, we've only had them two really. So this one was back in 2003 when CGI was starting to develop. It was starting to get there. But of course, not going to lie, when I rewatched this the other day, the CGI can look a bit off and it can look a bit dated, especially with some of the effects. But I'm quite surprised at how well it held up in some of the other scenes. So it was very 50-50 with the CGI. The acting I felt was okay. I don't think it was anything sort of like MCU special, you know. But they did all right with what they had. Now, this one is a bit of a weird film because when it came out, because it was a comic book film, they decided to edit it in a way of a comic book movie. So they were doing panels and swift editing and cutscenes that melded into each other. So it gave off a very comic book feel. Now, I remember when I was watching this growing up, I actually really enjoyed this film. I don't know what it was, but maybe it was the quick cuts, maybe it was the comic book style, things like that. But I will say now, that feeling's kind of gone. Like, my feelings have changed on this film. I don't enjoy it as much as I used to. There are some good scenes in this. I do like the actors that they picked to play the characters. But I think because of how the style of it is and how it's sort of like now sort of become outdated in my eyes. I like that they tried to do something like that, especially since this was back when we got things like the Fantastic Four and Ghost Rider and, you know, things like that. So that was like the early era of superhero comic films coming to life. So I like how they tried to do something different, but then trying to watch it now, you can feel it. You can feel the fact that it does feel off. It don't feel like the MCU movies you're used to, or the DC movies even, you know, things like that. But yeah, I'm very 50-50 on the film. Like, I did enjoy some scenes, like there were some scenes that stood out. I also liked some of the fight scenes that come in this. The CGI for the dogs, there was a dog scene in this that did not look great, I'm not gonna lie. But it was a decent film. It weren't terrible, but like I said, if you're someone like me that grew up with these films and you haven't watched them in a while and then you return to it, this is one of those times where I've returned to it and I've gone, why did I enjoy that in the first place? Like, why did I rave about it in the first place? And you can understand why. I mean, obviously when you're a child, you enjoy things like that. But now I look at it and I just think, I'm not sure how often I'd return to it. I think, would I watch this again at some point? Would I watch it for something on my channel? Would I want to watch it, like, if I was just wanting to watch a random film, would I go, oh, you know what, I feel like watching 2003's The Hulk? That was the sort of thing I thought about when I was watching the film, and that's not what you want to think about. You want to think, oh, I'll see this again at some point, not, will I watch this again? So the original, I gave it a 5.5 because, like I said, it is a very middle-of-the-road film. It's not terrible. Like, I've seen worse films. Like I always say, I have seen worse films. But I think for what they tried to do, I think I'll give them that. I'll give them the state of fact of they tried something different that you don't see nowadays. So if you're feeling nostalgic, maybe you can watch it again. But maybe if you're like me, your feelings might change. And if you don't want your feelings to change about that film, I'd say maybe don't return to it. Or you might have the same feelings again. Who knows? But for me, it's one of those ones that I've now watched it. Yay, I'm glad I've seen it again because I haven't watched it in ages. But at the same time, do I want to return to it? So now let's talk about the remake. So this is the one that, this is basically the Incredible Hulk film we got in the MCU. However, when it came to the Avengers film, Edward Norton, I think was his name, got replaced by Mark Ruffalo. So if you're someone like me who got introduced to the MCU at the time of the Avengers film, so I was introduced to the Hulk in the MCU as Mark Ruffalo. So when I went to go and watch the Edward Norton one for the first time a couple of years ago, I wasn't sure how I felt about it because I'd been so used to Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, which I think is a good casting. I think he did really well in the role. I wouldn't mind seeing a film, like a single Incredible Hulk film with him in it. Like, I'd love to see sort of like that side of things, maybe see how he would have dealt with it. But I think Edward Norton actually did quite well. I think he did well with the role. I like how it was sort of like more fast-paced. I do like how in both films they had the original Incredible Hulk guy from the TV series do cameos, both times security guards, which I find hilarious. But yet again, it's one of those MCU films that I enjoyed, but not sure how often I'd return to it, because for me, when I think MCU, I think emotion, I think hype, I think action. And yes, The Incredible Hulk, this one did have the action, and there was some really good fight scenes, especially against the Hulk and Abomination. Now that fight scene near the end, brilliant. I loved that fight scene. And especially since that's when we got Hulk smash! You know, so we got that. But when I think MCU, I think Captain America Civil War, I think Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. I think Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think Incredible Hulk. Like, I don't think, oh, you know what, I feel like watching this, you know, out of the MCU. So I do enjoy this film. This was entertaining. There's some really good action scenes, good plot points. I like the fact that we got some little twists in here. Also quite funny was the fact of there was one scene to do with another character getting Banner's blood. But then, of course, we then go away from that film and we never see that again. So I wouldn't mind seeing what happened to that character. I'd love to know if he ended up turning into the Hulk-like thingy, or if he turned into Abomination, things like that. And the weird thing is for me as well, the MCU films are connected in some way. Cameos, plots, things like that. The only thing for me that connects the Incredible Hulk to the MCU is that end credit scene with Robert Downey Jr. Like, that's the only thing for me that makes me think, oh, this is an MCU film. If I hadn't watched that end credit scene, I'd think this was just a standalone film. I wouldn't have thought it was part of the MCU. But I think, obviously, this was early days. This was when they were just starting out, things like that. So it's fine. I mean, they did add little other hints in there as well, like the whole serum that created Captain America. Like, they mentioned that. But it just doesn't feel like an MCU film to me. If you get what I mean, like, now we have the MCU, I feel like you do have to differentiate, and you do get that feeling, and you shouldn't get that feeling with the Incredible Hulk. You should be thinking, oh, this is an MCU film. But for me, I think it's a Marvel film. So it kind of takes it away a little bit, but I still enjoy this film. I get some form of entertainment out of this one. And the original, like the 2003 one, I get a little bit of entertainment out of it. Like, there's a couple of scenes that I laughed at and things like that. But with the remake, I think they've just done it a little bit better. If you catch my drift. So, of course, I think you can figure out what the winner is just by that last sentence. But I'm just going to say anyway, the remake for me is the one that I enjoyed the most. When I watched both of them, when I did watch them both, when I do this series, I do think to myself, which one would I return to the most? Like, which one did I get more entertainment value from? And for me, it has to be the 2008 one that we got in the MCU. Like I said, I do wish we got one with Mark Ruffalo. It would be nice to see him in a solo Incredible Hulk film. Whether that's starting from the very beginning or even just now when he's the smart Hulk. Like, I know we got him in She-Hulk Attorney at Law, but I would like to see a bit more development of that. But yeah, for me, the remake is a winner by a slight margin. Like, I give that one a 6 out of 10. So this is what I mean by it's a slight margin. It's good, it's entertaining, but like I said, the two Incredible Hulk films, not really my go-to films for Marvel or MCU, whichever. They're like my, maybe if I feel like watching it, I might watch it, but when I think MCU and I want to watch a Marvel film, I'll go Fantastic Four, I will go Avengers, I will go Captain America, I will go Spider-Man. So it's very far down the line, but it's not a terrible movie, either of them. They're decent movies. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this original versus remake. I'm not sure what the next one will be yet. I need to figure that one out. But as soon as I do, I'll put a poll up on the community page for you guys. But yes, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then do give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel, then go ahead, hit that subscribe button and also notification bell down below to be notified when I post. And also leave me your comments and thought on this original versus remake. Let me know your reasons down below as to why you picked the original, why you picked the remake, or if you enjoy them both. Let me know in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys next time.